I don't know, man.
It's a great start.
No.
And JP, I love and respect the song. We do it every year, and it's the best way to start.
It's such a cliche to play that song, man. I can't.
Doogie, were you in on that? Did you like it, Doogie? Because it's a
good.
great thing to start the show. Doogie was involved. I love it.
Doogie made the call. He's the executive producer back there.
Yes,
He makes
but
every call.
We've got too many predictable things. You know, it's the Hello Darkness song. We've got this song. We've got too many things.
Yeah.
I would have preferred the Buffalo Bill song.
Goodbye Horses.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got to get back to our roots.
I agree with you. That's way back there.
Yes, that's way back in the roots.
We've been doing this for a long time. It's great to be back. Great to see you guys. I'm sure we all had a great summer. We've been in contact like we are every single summer.
Not as much. I must
Not
say.
as much?
I must say.
Did we have lunch? Did we have dinner?
No, never.
We
don't even float that out anymore.
Bobby McKenzie, I think, left an impression because I remember the first summer I tried to contact Bob, and he just sent me a text and said, "Hey, pal, I go dark in the summer." And that was code for don't even think about calling me or text. And that has filtered through this building.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, the amount that we talk during like a work year, which is the fall until summer, is insane.
Yes.
Whether it be at night with dregs, our insiders, all of us, Doogie.
Texting.
Come summertime, it is just ninja dust around the whole. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't see anybody.
I think that's healthy. I actually think
do
that's very
too.
healthy.
Bobby,
I love
it's a
that
great
Bob-
legacy to leave.
Hey, pal, great hearing from you. Don't ask me anything
Don't,
again
pal.
until
I go
September.
dark in the summer, and I knew because I know him. That was code for don't ever call me
We've
again.
stopped.
Yeah.
We've stopped the, hey, let's get together for dinner and all that.
Right.
Like, that just doesn't happen.
Not necessary.
Like,
I think that, again, is healthy. It speaks to how long we've been doing this. I had this is very similar to what I went through this morning. My kids were back in school. All of our kids in school. Everyone's excited. Like when your oldest goes to school that first day.
Yeah.
It is such a massive day. You got to take the right pictures, and then you got to have the right post, and then mom and dad are in there and get the hug at the gate post. You got to get that. Today we took a couple pics, and my wife was like, "I don't know, maybe I'll post something." Like because they've been doing it so long.
Yeah, exactly.
The longer you get into the swing of things, the more comfortable you are, and the more you understand. Hey, you just keep it rolling, man. It's all good.
My daughter's
Everyone's
couple
gonna have a
years,
good
will just
time.
be like, see you girls, have fun. Let me know
Yeah,
how it
exactly.
is."
Everyone have a good time. And it's the
think
same
I'm
thing
there,
here. We're
yeah.
back, and it's all good.
my daughter is in grade 7 now, and she was we were walking her to school, but she was kind of walking ahead. And I was like, okay, now it's starting.
Yeah,
I don't want to see.
doesn't want you
like
around.
the old. And I'll go out of my way. I kind of tease her. I'll say, you want me to come in and sing the anthem today, or I'm going to talk to some people. And she's like, Daddy's like, knock it off, type of thing. And that was the first indicator. Like that was it. Like she was ahead. My son's fine. He's grade 2. He's still, he's still in the wheelhouse. His parents are still cool to him. I think the daughter's like,
You're a loser now.
Yeah.
Wait, I know.
You've hit
I
loser
know.
status.
Wait till they get older because I had to do it last weekend. My daughters say we got to wake up at 9, and then I got to leave by 9:30 because there's this store downtown. It's called Brandy Melville. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wait until you get a load of this place. It's where all the little Karens go before they go to school.
Yeah. Okay.
And you got to pull in there. It opens at 10 o'clock, and there's millions of girls that are going in there. And my daughters just stay in the car. Dad, and please, can we have the credit card?
Oh, you weren't allowed in.
I didn't want to go. I could never step foot in that place.
Wow.
And the credit card, go to Brandy Melville and go nuts, and then load up, and they go to school.
That's veteran.
Yeah.
They don't
That's
want
veteran.
anything else. They just want to go to that one. You should see this place.
Yeah.
It is
Well,
insane.
I'm at a different level. Like my youngest is in SK, and I was responsible for getting the new shoes. So I took them out to buy new shoes, and I bought my youngest basketball shoes.
Skechers.
Yeah, they're really loud, and she loved them. Like they were legit, not Jordans quite, but she was running around the store and
I love it.
they were. And I was like, if those are the ones you want, those are the ones you get. And
You got home and your wife.
Aaron's
they,
like, what the
they
hell are
weren't.
you doing?
They were too loud. They're too ridiculous. So I was already. I had already screwed up before we got there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you go tell her we're sending those back. That's the one she wants.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
those are the shoes she's gonna wear. So she wore them proudly today. I don't know if she can get them on and off. They got all these different like gadgets
And when
to
you
them.
walk, do they light up?
Yeah, they're just like
yeah.
wild shoes.
Yeah.
But, she was excited for them, and, it's all good. So, good to see Doogie. Good to see JP. Joe from the bridge back there.
Everybody was on site.
Everyone's
here.
excited.
J-Mac, I saw the grappler. Like there was.
Yes, the grappler with a tucked-in shirt. He looked like Brian McCabe. He was dressed like Caber today.
I didn't see that. I didn't check out the.
Yeah, he had
Grappler's growing up. He had a manly executive look to him. I swear he did. I don't know what his title. His title is executive producer.
I think
but he
so.
looked like an executive.
He looked like an
some mail and
executive.
Gave me a thumbs up, and that was it.
He looked like the kind of guy that, like, if you're an intern around here, you got to be on your best behavior.
Let's
when
call him the
Grappler's
CFO
around.
of radio.
The CFO. I like that. So yeah, the grappler was around. J-Mac. Everyone's in good spirits. Everyone's having a good time. And it's you know what? It's interesting. I saw Joe from the bridge, and the big news in the hockey world today, of course, is Leon Draisaitl signing that deal, which I didn't see this coming kind of out of nowhere. I know they had been working on it, and he indicated at the end of last season, like he wants to stick around, he wants to be in Edmonton. But I wasn't convinced he was going to lock in for 8 years.
Yeah, I thought,
and he did.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of
$14 million per, and we'll get to that. But what I've noticed is somehow there has to be a Maple Leaf connection to this.
Why? What's
I
the
knew
Maple
you were
Leaf?
going to do that.
Why? Because Austin only gave
No,
4
it's
or 5?
not even that. It's that, like, well, what does this mean for Connor going to Toronto? Or even Struddy's goofing on the Leafs, like Struddy had a joke early, and it was a good line. I got to give him credit. It was
About
pretty
the
good.
Hyman Leaf?
Yeah. He's like, all these guys staying in Canadian markets. Who was the last big player to leave a Canadian market? Was it Zach Hyman when he left the Leafs? Which is a good line. But why do the Leafs have to be included in anything to do with this?
I don't
Why?
know.
Why would the Leafs be
I thought you were going
included?
to go, okay, well, Mitch Marner's up. But I'm seeing, like, there was a ton of guys whose contracts are due next year. Like, Draisaitl is the pace car, but that's, he's arguably a top 5 player in the world.
He is.
Or easily,
He is.
for me.
Yes. He's fighting for number 2.
Okay, fair enough.
No
Let's
kidding.
leave it-
Like,
let's
it's
leave it
less
there.
than 5. For
Yeah,
me.
Okay, so
the guy's
I was
unreal.
being generous, but let's leave it there. But so everyone's going to be talking about, well, yeah, what are you going to do with Mitch Marner? But there's other guys. There's big names that are coming up. I think Kyle Connor's right around the corner. Like, there's some really good players that are a year away from UFA or needing their contract done. It just seems like Draisaitl was. I thought the 8 years it's a statement.
I think it's a grand slam for Edmonton. I mean, now what you can do is you can visualize if you're an Oiler fan, because this guy has been so good for them, and it's on the cheap, and he's on the cheap for one more year at 8.5. It doesn't kick in now.
Right.
This is an extension that will start next year. He's maybe the second best player in the world, certainly top 5, and he played his 3 years of entry level, then an 8-year deal, and another 8-year deal. Like, that's a massive commitment.
Yeah.
And we have this inferiority complex. There are anxieties when it comes to Canadian markets because you fear, are guys going to want to play there? Is it too much of a fishbowl? Edmonton and Winnipeg are the 2 smallest markets in the league. Yeah. Small market Canadian markets. This guy's German. He's from Germany, and he's going to play there for 20 years, and he's going to be one of the probably 50 greatest players of all time. I don't know if he can catch Gretzky there. I don't know if he can catch McDavid there, but can he catch Messier? Like, is he the 3rd greatest Oiler of all time when it's all said and done? I don't know, but it's got to be an incredible feeling if you're an Oiler fan.
Well, you think that he could have done this too, that would have just driven the management and the market crazy, where he could have just played this game. I can't make a call unless I know what 97's 100% doing. And then the market would have been like, well,
I thought that's what he was going to do.
He could have easily done that. He could have
Yeah.
said, unless I see Connor McDavid next summer on an extension, I gotta make a decision.
Which is fair, and I know they're
He
best
could have easily
buddies.
done that, and it kind of would have been smart saying, I want to do this with him, which I don't know if this signifies automatically that they're both going to go at this together. He just put the stake in the ground and said, I'm going to be here. He even said today, Connor McDavid's going to do what's best for him because that's what I just did.
Yeah.
So
love
it's
it,
great for him. It's great for the Canadian market. Even when the kid, he left Winnipeg, he didn't want to sign. That stuff makes me sick for Canadian
Rutger
market.
McGroarty,
Yeah, he just was like, nah, I told those guys I'm not signing.
His
them."
explanation was bogus.
It was
too.
awful.
It was a
And he's a
ridiculous
kid, but
It
explanation.
drove me nuts when he said, "Oh, they handled it with class." I literally wanted
I
to
know.
jump through the TV screen. Like,
Handled it with
Those
class.
guys handled it with class, like
Yeah.
he's Mark Messier or something.
Yeah.
That drove me nuts. So it's good for Canadian markets that Leon Draisaitl said, "Yep, I'm staying here." Because there was all kinds of talk. Oh, he wants some sunshine. Oh, he wants tax. He wants this. He wants that. I'm like, maybe he's leaving. But he's not, and it's great for Canada and it's great for the Oilers.
That's where I was going, because all I heard out west during the playoffs is, Draisaitl, I heard his wife's looking at places in L.A. There's all these, like, I heard this, I heard that. You know, he may not play the full contract there, but he made the commitment, because you always can ask for a trade if you want. You can say, hey, you know what? We're going to do a rebuild. I can move out. But he made the commitment. I hope that Connor makes the commitment for their sake. They're going to be up against it, but ultimately the cap's going up. So if Connor gets $16 million, the two of them are going to be $30 million. That'll be 30% of the cap if it gets to $100 million. You can play armchair GM later with the cap, but the Edmonton Oilers, that's a win for them today. That's a
absolutely.
big win
It's a huge commitment.
What if he said, I want a 2-year deal? Now,
I thought he would link up with McDavid. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's kind
of what I was thinking. Shorter term, and okay, are they going to try and win, and then all bets are off? Bottom line is he's got a bunch of money in his jeans, and they're going to try and win in Edmonton, and he's close with McDavid, and sounds like
it has to help. I think everyone understands this is a very good sign for the idea of McDavid staying there long term. But McDavid's got 2 years left on his deal.
Right.
Now he can do what Draisaitl just did in July. You know, we could be 10 months away from him saying, let's not waste time, let's get it done. And it's going to be a very simple negotiation. What's the number? You tell us. There it is. Exactly. Tell us the years. He can do whatever he wants. And I don't know if he'll do 8 years. He may not. He may take a page out of the Matthews book and say, I'm comfortable with a 4-year deal, and then I'll let you know where I'm at. Or a 3-year deal. Again, and the same thing would have applied with Draisaitl. If he went to them and said, I want 1 year, $14 million, that's exactly what they would sign him to.
Yeah, like
you'd have to.
You could do.
What are you going to do? You're not going to walk of him. They're in Game 7 of the Cup final.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a really good team. They're all in. They're an older team.
Yeah.
Like they're one of the oldest, if not the oldest.
They are
teams
the
in
oldest
league.
team on paper in the league right now.
Right. So
by
like
0.2 or something.
Sure, but they're in it to win it right now, and they got a couple of years where McDavid's there. So it doesn't even matter what's going to happen with McDavid in the future. You'll cross that bridge when you get to it.
Yep.
This certainly helps because they are best friends. They're very close. I mean, that's been well stated. But even if there's a world where McDavid decides, I want to play somewhere else, Draisaitl's still there, and he's going to be an Oiler, and he's going to be an Oiler for a long time. And I think that's just a great sign for the Oilers. You know, it's just got to be an incredible feeling knowing like this guy has fully committed, and it's a big ticket, but it was always going to be more than Matthews because the next guy up is going to push the ticket.
Yeah, let's not forget that.
That's what it is.
You can talk about location, cold weather, Edmonton. Like, they gave the guy over $100 million.
$112 million.
14 sheets.
And it's all
that
signing
seems
bonus.
to be like he's doing this organization, the league, the family,
charity.
some kind of. They gave him $112 million.
Right.
Like, let's not forget that. Like,
that gets lost in the shuffle a lot.
No kidding. It's like all these different things, we pick it apart, and that's our job to talk about and do it. But 112, it's not hard to say yes to that. Like, give me a break.
Well, and that's where it comes back to. He's got the flexibility to go 4 years from now. They go into a scorched earth. Go, I can move on. I'm still a top tier player. Like, at the end of the day, I like the fact that he got 8 years. He's got the guaranteed money, as you mentioned, signing bonus all put into his pocket. Yes, he's getting paid handsomely. He probably should have been making a lot more as it is right now. Is at 8.5 this year, but it's a great deal. And they'll have to figure out, yes, they've got, McDavid 2 years from now or a year from now. You got Evan Bouchard who's going to get paid. And
that's the complicating factor. And that's where the Leafs kind of come in with the core four being what it is, and these guys have had more success out there, but they've had Leon on the cheap. Like Draisaitl at 8.5 is crazy. And Bouchard this year was one of the 5 best defensemen in the league. He was that good, and he's getting paid effectively nothing based on NHL terms. That's coming. And, like, the outlier here is Nurse. Like, the focus is going to be on Darnell Nurse to play better than he did last year, certainly in the playoffs because he's making a lot of money because McDavid, if he stays, is going to make a fortune. Draisaitl's making a fortune. And Bouchard, I think, will get $10 million a year.
But if you think that he's somehow going to be a $9.5 million defenseman, that's just not what he is. He's a big, solid, tough guy, and he can put out fires and he can create offense. But he's never going to live up to 9.5. That was just the going rate, and he got the contract. So if you're a fan of the Oilers and you ever think that he's going to amount to a $9.5 million player, you just want him to play well every night.
And that's valid.
That's valid. You can't have those stretches where there's turnovers and lapses and missed assignments. You can't have that. Well, it doesn't matter what you're making. You're given that amount of ice time, He's just not going to. He's just not that player.
You're right, and the thing is, it was the going rate. There was 3 or 4 defensemen that kind of signed in that wheelhouse.
And he had his agent tell the Oilers that he belonged in that group, and they bought it.
And you know what? The bottom line is the Edmonton Oilers have to find a way to make things work. That's where you got Connor Browns at $1 million. You got Jan Marks, guys like that. Evander Kane. I think that's an LTIR situation. Like, they've still got to make that cap situation. They've got flexibility now because they let Holloway and Broberg go. But, they're gonna have some flexibility to add a player at some point if the guys on the back end don't work out. This Emberson, you're digging around about him. Like, I talked to Struddy about him. He did some research, and sounds like he's a decent player. But they need him to be a decent player at $950. It comes back. You want to spin it back to the Leafs.
That's what the Leafs are always.
You need value players.
Bouchard's going to be making 10.
He's making 10. He's going to get $10 million if he plays like that again this year.
82 points again. This guy's going to be a double-digit player. But the cap is going up, so you are going to be able to help with that process a little bit too, where there is slightly some relief.
It sucks that this cap conversation has to even be a part of it. It's the worst, but that's the nature of the NHL, where every dollar counts. It's a math formula.
Yeah.
But Draisaitl deserves every penny.
Yeah.
He's like we've stated. Everyone knows who he is, what his resume is. He's committed. He's staying there long term. It's a celebratory day if you're in Edmonton, and it opens the door to other guys who are coming up in the next year or two. And Something to Chew On is brought to you by Boston Pizza, the best place for any family meal. Plus, for the month of September, kids eat free with minimum purchase when you dine in. So grab the kids and hustle in your local BP tonight. With Draisaitl sign, which contract negotiation are you most looking forward to seeing unfold? Sidney Crosby still unsigned. Mitch Marner still unsigned in terms of extensions. They all have deals for this year. And then we threw McDavid in there, who's still 2 years out. And I'm not sure that counts because McDavid, again, 2 years out, like that's a long time.
Yeah.
But the vote so far, 43% of people saying McDavid. They're curious to see what the number's at and what he ends up doing in the future. And that a lot of it is Leaf fans who want him to come here. Like a lot of it is Leaf fans are like, he'll just come here now because Draisaitl's making 14
I think that's
I don't
the dumbest
understand
argument
that.
ever.
It makes no sense.
That's actually even dumber. Like, there's no chance he's coming here if his buddy just signed long term there. If his buddy goes, give me a 1-year deal or a 2-year
then
deal,
the door's open
then
today.
you open the door. I think it's the other way
I think
around.
McDavid and Draisaitl know exactly what they're doing.
Exactly.
You said two. I hate to get off track here, but isn't Jamar Chase? Isn't his deal have 2 years left on it, and he's still
always the NFL, man. That's
he wants his contract. Just 2 years on it.
That's right. So Trent Williams just renegotiated his deal. I think he had 3 years left with the Niners. He's like, I'm just not showing up until you rework my deal. It's all about reworking the guaranteed money.
Wow.
That's what's shocking is more quarterbacks don't do that in the NFL. Some of them do.
Right.
But like Brock Purdy is in a position where you'd think, Trent Williams, probably the best left tackle in the game, very important player. Jamar Chase, really important player. But Brock Purdy, if he doesn't play for the Niners, they are screwed.
Yeah, they're not
and
good.
Purdy's like playing for $800,000, and he's not like, hey, I need something going here.
I will say this.
But that's the way it works. In the NFL.
I'm sorry, that's bad agent.
You know what it is? It's Justin Jefferson moved the bar up big time.
Yeah.
And then CeeDee Lamb said, I'm not showing up until I get paid something like that. And now Jamar Chase is like, these guys are making $35, $34 million a year. I'm not sitting here making what I'm making.
Yeah.
Which is what? It's 20-something?
I don't know exactly what his number's at, but it's crazy. It's the Wild West in the NFL with a lot of that stuff.
Like 1 year, I could say, okay, I want some.
No, he's got a long-term deal.
He's got 2 years left on his deal, and he's holding out. That's what I
crazy.
said. Come on.
More money.
I will say my favorite show over the summer was Receiver. I don't know if you watched it on Netflix. It was unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Like I liked it better than Quarterback.
Well, because they're bigger personalities.
Yeah, like George Kittle is like
oh man, Kittle's is wild, and he's a tight end, but he is
the wild man. Like,
he's got like some Brent Burns in him, like in terms of just what he's all about and how he operates, and the NFL is. It's back. I'm so happy.
I wasn't happy. I gotta say, I was not happy. It was a subtle tweet. You kind of Friday news dumped it.
I saw that.
And it said, "Can't wait to cook something up with Al's brother for another championship." And it buzzed the tower of my party because he came over the top right away.
Yeah,
To
he
call
wasn't
yourself
happy.
champions was insane.
Well, we did win the playoffs.
Doogie,
I mean,
let
we live
me
in
just
North
ask you,
America,
Doogie,
man.
do you even know who was declared? Do we even declare a winner last year?
Well, we essentially posted that Hayes and Bro won the championship.
They won the playoffs, right? You guys
Essentially.
won the regular
What does
season.
that mean?
Doogie.
We did or we
Doogie,
didn't.
you got to
Doogie?
step up this year and talk better than that. Who won the championship?
Hayes and Bro won the championship.
Thank you, Doogie.
Yeah. It was,
Dude, this isn't the premiership. Like we don't. The regular season is weighted. It's very important. It's awesome. You guys deserve I'll give you a banner, President's Trophy. But the Super Bowl was brought home by Hayes and Bro. And we were in the lab over the summer, man. And
I thought
I was taking heat because people are like, do you think you look like Brad Pitt? Like, who do you think you are to suggest you're Brad Pitt from Moneyball?
yeah, that is. I saw some of the.
Maybe it was the other way around. Al's brother was Brad Pitt. You never know how that
What's
went.
that guy's
You're
name
right,
on
I
the
should
right?
That's
know
for the
better.
eye of the beholder.
Jonah Carey.
Jonah Carey. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill.
Hill,
That's it. Jonah Hill.
Yeah. No, I thought the tweet that you were talking about is the best 92.
Patrik Laine. We're in 90.
There in Montreal.
We're at 92. You see him out there on the ice today? He looks good in those colors. I'll say that.
Look, I'm going to be his biggest fan, but I just think, look at that outfit.
Look at the pants. He's got the Dougie
No,
Gilmore
I get
cow
it.
pants.
These guys they're cool dudes, and they got their own style. I just think to go there and put the jersey on, you could have left the green Crocs in the cow pants. It's the Montreal Canadiens. Can you fire a suit on for 5 minutes
The
and then take
green
it off and put your green Crocs
I
in
didn't
your
even
cow
see the
pants
green
on?
Crocs.
He's
I saw
got
the
the-
cow.
I'm not. It doesn't bother me. These guys wear different stuff, and it's cool. I got stuff like that too. But if I was going to Montreal, I'm pretty sure my old man or my agent would have told me, you got to fire a suit on for this one.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I agree, and I've noticed
It's
like this is
okay
us
if you
feeling
do-
we're getting older.
It
but I
is,
think
but
there's
it's
still
still okay
it's
to have
important.
some tradition and say, you know what, I'm going to
I
the
agree.
Habs. I'm just going to fire a nice suit on, and it's going to be traditional. And then after that, I'll put my green Crocs back on.
Yeah.
I
agree.
just think there's something that's okay with that. It's okay to have it both ways.
I know.
But I'll be
Totally.
his biggest fan. But I will say this. I've seen some things in the last 10 years of doing this where they don't change. And one of them is if you get an appetite that you can put the jersey on and go on the ice and not try and no one's going to do anything, some guys just keep doing it.
He's not going to hide in that market, though. I'll tell you what.
Well,
I'm not
Pierre-Luc
sure it
Dubois
matters
went
to
to
him.
Winnipeg and he just kind of mailed it in. He's like, nah. Then he went to LA and it was just kind of,
The thing is, Montreal's still not a competitive team yet.
And
Like, they're not
I
gonna
understand this
be-
guy had some issues and he's dealt with them and he looks like he's trending in the right direction. But some things just don't change. And he's had an appetite where he could go out there and not try, literally not try.
Mhm.
And he had some stuff going on, and I hope he gets it together. And I'll be his biggest fan.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work to do for him to go out there and add work to his game because that was not there for the longest time.
I've been the last week going over rosters because, you know, guys changing teams and stuff. You're kind of like, okay, that guy's here. Forgot that guy was there. And I did Washington's last night, and Pierre-Luc Dubois,
Yeah.
their number one center, right? Like he would be their guy.
He'll be dishing Ovi pucks
And
for the next until he
I
passes.
mean, they
Gretzky.
had, you know, they got Jacob Chikrin. Like Washington, for some reason, has kind of doubled down. It's like, hey, we're going to try and get better here while Ovi's. Same thing, Pittsburgh. Like, you know, what are you doing with some of the stuff there? But it's like, okay, we've got these guys. We got to try and be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And Washington.
Pierre-Luc Dubois, boy, oh my God.
That deal is wild, and I listen. I'm flummoxed by why Montreal would do this. Like I don't understand the reasoning. Like it's a big cap hit, and I've heard the argument has been, well, they're not competitive yet for the next couple of years, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Cap space can always be weaponized. You never know who's coming up. You never know who becomes available, and it's like now we don't have that flexibility because we went there.
Yeah.
And I know his talent level. We know it, but it's been years since he really showed it. He scored 40, I believe, his
44
first
his
year or
first year.
second year, and that's it. He's not a 40-goal scorer anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and I think they have some offense on the wings. I think they need help up the middle of the ice. I think they still need to. I don't know what they're doing in net. I know Montembeau was
and Caden Primo.
and he was good down the stretch last year.
Both
Really
of those
good.
guys are their guys. But I was looking at their team. What they've had is they've got some older guys now that you can push down the lineup. You know, the Armias and
Gallagher and Anderson.
Gallagher and Anderson are on their third line technically with that Christian Dvorak. But you know, you've got Newhook. Kirby Doc was injured all last year.
Right. And he looked great to start the year last year.
He's a nice player, but if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at their roster last night. You got Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Newhook, Doc, Laine, Gallagher, Dvorak, Anderson, Pizzetta, Evans, Armia. That fourth line is intact or whatever he threw. But it's pushed those older guys kind of like Anderson and Gallagher into that third line. Like I don't think they're a playoff team, but I don't think they're not San Jose anymore. They're going to be in that
they're trying
75
to push
to 85 points.
Yeah.
But what the crazy thing I keep thinking about is all these teams are like getting a little bit better. Where's the points coming from? Like, who are you going to take off of? Like, Boston might are they going to take a step back? Marchand doesn't look like he's going to be ready for the start of the season. Is Florida going to have a hangover? Matthew Tkachuk, it was the summer of Matthew. I don't know if you saw.
Oh, yeah, he's having a
so
great
happy
time.
for him, but man, every time you turned around, he was at a cup party or whatever. Like there's a lot of teams that there's only a certain amount of points. Detroit wanted to get better, Buffalo wanted to get better, Ottawa wanted to get better, the Leafs want to get better. Like,
what, Noodles? It seems like deja vu where we've been saying that.
I know
we've been saying that for almost the last 4 years, where it's like
probably
these guys are going to
sure.
push, these guys are going to push, and every year they finish in the exact same spot.
The same teams that make it and the same teams that
I guess
don't.
my point is ever one of those going to break through, or is it just going to be those top and
I can't
bottom?
say I feel great
I
about
don't
any of
know.
them personally. I don't. Like Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, Montreal. I don't think any of them are going to make the playoffs.
They'll
as it
have
stands
to
today.
show me something in 20 games for me to say.
Yes.
They got my attention.
That's
because
right.
Every year I've been like, oh, you never know about that team. They're bottom of the barrel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Opinion's always subject to change, but as of September 3rd, I don't see it. Could I see it on November 3rd? Possibly.
You got to give it 20 games.
You got to give it some
games.
see health and see what's happening with the other teams too, because those teams are older. Those teams have some things going against them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's the beauty of it. Once we drop the puck, we get rocket.
Yeah.
I think we should end the first segment on a somber note, though. Obviously, we weren't on the air on Friday. The passing of the Gaudreau brothers. I mean, Johnny Gaudreau, his brother Matt Gaudreau. Just the most shocking news, the most sad news. We've all been discussing it over the weekend together. Noodles, you knew him pretty well, Johnny, and I think the way that the league has handled it, Columbus has handled it, Calgary's handled it. It's I don't know what else to say.
It gives
man.
perspective, man.
A shocking story.
You're just so upset. Like, it's so upsetting on so many different levels. Hockey, we all know somebody who knows Johnny or knows the family, knows like that type of stuff. It's affected everybody. And I talked to people throughout the league. My phone was blowing up this weekend. Guys who played with him, guys who crossed paths with him. Like, it just, not a better guy. His brother Matthew was an awesome person too. The outpouring of love. Like, there's a lot of people that line up to take a shot at hockey on certain things, but you forget, like, hockey's it's a small community. People love each other, and it's been really, really affected. Like,
it has.
It's the worst tragedy you could ever imagine. I just hope, because you think of the dad, that's like, you just think of an NHL dad that just takes so much enjoyment out of watching his kid play in the NHL. And I know the brother didn't play in the NHL, but just that, like, the dad sitting down at night to say, I'm going to watch my kid tonight play in the NHL. And I know the league has father trips, and I don't know what Mr. Gaudreau's state of mind is going to be. This is going to be awful. It's going to be awful forever.
Forever.
Yep. But just all of Johnny Gaudreau's buddies throughout the league, take him on dad's trips throughout. Like, I don't know. It's such a sad thing. Like, you can't even. It's one of those things where you can't believe it. You hear the news and you can't believe it.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, the three of us were going back and forth, and it's exactly what it was. Like, this can't be real. It cannot be real.
Yeah.
And then when it was real, it's something you'll just never forget. You'll never get over. And our thoughts and condolences are with the Gaudreau family. The wives of the guys and the kids. And,
everybody. That's been
their
touched.
sister was getting married the next day. It's like you said, the most tragic thing you could ever imagine happening, and it happened. So, we'll be obviously, telling stories, I'm sure, about Johnny Gaudreau throughout the year, and we just wanted to make sure we address that. We'll continue to do that as we move forward. Ryan Rishaug will join us later in the hour on his take from Edmonton on this Leon Draisaitl contract. We had Summer McIntosh. The summer of summer continues for a couple more weeks anyway. Summer's coming up in a couple of hours, so we look forward to that. We've got a really cool giveaway that we're going to announce somewhere in the 5 p.m. hour. You're going to want to hear the details on this, too. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. We've got the NFL on Thursday, the NFL on Friday, and then it's go time from there, man. It is go time. Thursday night. Well, we got Luke Wilson coming on at 6:05, too. We should point that out. Luke's coming up today.
I know, but I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to bring it up with Luke. Did I see you on SportsCenter giving the Detroit Lions some love?
Yes, I am.
Like, I was like, I almost fell off my chair. And the coach, Dan
I have
Campbell.
pulled a 180 on Dan Campbell. I have to be honest.
I don't believe you. I think you had an angle on the hit, and I think you still secretly hate his guts.
No, you do.
I think you secretly hate his guts, and you think he'll make stupid plays in big games that cost them wins.
I thought he was
last year.
He did in the championship game. Like he absolutely did. But I've got to give him credit, man. Proof is in the pudding. They won a lot of games, and they got a really good team.
Yeah.
Like they got a really good team.
All the pundits watching and all over in the States, they're giving them a lot of credit.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're giving them props going into this season, too.
And that's tough because it's Detroit. And it is tough for me because you guys know where I stood on Dan Campbell. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing, that his whole act, his running sprints with the player. I always find that stupid. Yeah, you're not a player anymore. You're the coach. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Don't pretend like you're a part of the guys. They don't want you around. They don't want to invite you to the party. And
the Notre Dame coach the other day was such a hero leading his team out on the field. It was such an act. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
He was just doing the hype, and he was like doing the Ray Lewis dance, and he wouldn't let the players go out until he was done doing a celebration. I'm like, stop it.
Get out of the way.
They won the game, though. That was a big win. Was it Texas Tech, I think they were playing, or Texas A&M.
Oh, you want to ever see panic? Like, forget about Leafs Nation, Canadian markets. If a big college market loses game one, their fan base goes nuts.
Yes.
Florida State Seminole fan base, dude, they're
0-2.
They're lighting the building on fire.
Yes. That coach knows he's gone. Like he knows.
He doesn't even want to go to work.
No, he's in a lot of trouble. And you're right. If you like Brian Kelly down in LSU, they lost to USC and he's losing his mind.
Yeah.
Talking about how
Brian
much
Kelly, when he went down there and he developed a Southern accent and made that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in like introductions.
That was great.
It was the greatest thing. He left Notre Dame, went to LSU. In his introductory speech, he had a Southern accent that just appeared, and it blew up the internet. That was unreal.
Yeah.
He had a drawl out of nowhere.
After the break, I want to get it. There was a guy who just froze up on his speech this summer. Who was that?
Oh, that was that might have been the head coach of USC.
Yeah,
it was at the Big Ten Media Day.
That was tough.
That was tough. Although they had a big start.
I know, but he was. It was almost like
he did UCLA. Okay,
yeah,
it was UCLA.
He didn't prepare for anything. He just went up and started talking.
Yeah, he started winging.
And just like you could tell, he just stopped talking. Like he was like, I've lost my train of thought here.
And he's like, God, there's us and there's USC and
Big Ten, he said, and that was it.
Yeah, it was.
He was Chevy guy.
Yeah, there was some Chevy guy in there. The Chris Farley show a little bit.
We got
technology and stuff.
Yeah, we'll play that. The head coach of UCLA. That's right. We did play that, in the summer when it came down. We'll find a time for that. We'll play it this afternoon. All right, we'll come back and head to Edmonton and get Ryan Rishaug on here, get him to set the scene on how people are feeling about Leon Draisaitl's 8-year extension. $14 million per is the contract and is the cap hit. What does it mean for McDavid? What could this mean for his legacy in Edmonton? That more still to come. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, confirm or deny in about 20 minutes. Confirm or deny coming up at 5 p.m.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
It's always exciting. It's always exciting to confirm or deny.
Yeah.
Like a Labor Day Classic. It's the first day back. You're always going to get a confirm or deny.
Yep. Little Labor Day Classic yesterday in Hamilton. The Argos got to figure it out, man. That Hamilton team's not that good. In fact, they've been awful this year.
Both of them are under 500.
Argos have been
like
great.
4 and 5 and 5 and 6. Like they're.
You got Chad Kelly back. Like they got to figure that out, man.
Bo Levi Mitchell was.
Bo Levi loves playing on Labor Day, man.
7-0.
He used to torch the Elks, right? I'll bet you Ryan Rishaug. How many games probably did he cover when Bo Levi Mitchell just destroyed Edmonton?
Struddy, the reason is Struddy's bad luck for them. He wears that stupid Elks hat or whatever.
Mm-hmm. We got to get into something. You found out about
Oh
Struddy.
my God!
We'll get into that. We'll present
when we
that
have
to the
him
people.
on next. Like it is, I
Might
don't
have
know,
to be
man.
talked about next hour.
Okay, we might bring up what we saw online from Struddy, but here's our buddy Ryan Rishaug from TSN out in Edmonton. What's happening, Ryan?
I need to know what this is now. I
just tell
cannot
him?
wait an hour. I need to know right now.
Okay,
You want me to break? You go. Oh, or do you?
I saw a picture that Noodles sent our group chat that Struddy is selling $30 wall shelving units on Facebook Marketplace.
True.
Why? Throw in the
This is
garbage.
Yeah.
I know Struddy invented copper wire by stretching a penny, but honest to God, like what happened is my buddy, I'm in a group text with my buddies back home. So Dan and Shayla sends me this. I'm like checking in with them. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? He goes, oh, just thinking about putting an offer on these. He sends me a picture of Jason Strudwick on Facebook or Marketplace. Shelves for $30, and I think they're crooked too.
They're not straight.
So then
They're heavily used.
I grabbed the
Heavily
picture
used.
and I send it to Jason and his wife Shona, and I say, I'll give you 20 and a signed Jamie McLennan hockey card. And his wife Shona just tees off on him in the group text. Struddy calls me and he goes, I've got multiple offers on that. I'm like, why don't you just throw them in the garbage? Like, what are you doing?
He's into multiples. Or donate them, for goodness sake.
Exactly.
There's lots of great spots. You can donate furniture that's lightly used. And, he is a unique gentleman.
Do you
He's one
think
of a
Leon
kind, man.
Draisaitl is selling used shelves out of his garage, Brian?
No. Leon's not going to have to sell used furniture for a long time, fellas. 112 schmil, hey?
Pretty good, man. I got to think it's a party in Edmonton. Like, how are people reacting to this news?
Yeah, well, yes, the market is ecstatic. Just judging on social media and people in my orbit, even the number of texts I've been getting from family and friends. And yes, and I think it's as much about what it signifies, guys, as it is, Draisaitl. He's an exceptionally good player, and for him to sign for 8 years here, 8 more years, so 9 he's got left. But I think it signifies, that the chances of Connor McDavid signing here long term just shot through the roof. I think everybody understands the relationship there, and while they talk about it being separate negotiations, and I'm sure it is to a degree, we all know the way these things work. So this dramatically increases the chances of McDavid re-signing here. But more than anything, it's an indication that Leon Draisaitl, a world-class player, feels like his best chance to win a Stanley Cup is in Edmonton, loves playing hockey in Edmonton, has committed basically the rest of his career to Edmonton. And I think you back up 5, 6, 7 years, there were a lot of people continuously questioning whether these guys would be in it for the long haul here, or if it were some sort of the only reason they're there is because that's who drafted them and they have no choice. Well, they had a choice. They both had choices when they signed their last deals and with Draisaitl signing this one. So this signifies a lot for this market, I would say.
Ryan, we were talking about in the last segment, was it pretty much if he said, listen, I want a 2-year deal, would they just, signed on and just offered it to him? Like he pretty much, it seems like he wrote his own ticket. Yeah. I mean, would that be fair to say?
Yeah, and people are kind of looking at me a little sideways because my narrative today, I'm telling you guys, he left money on the table here. Like, no question, he left money on the table here. He did not grind the Oilers for every penny. And people are looking.
Ryan, what do you think? Like an open market team would have said, you want to come here for what? Like what?
Well, I mean, so you can only do a 7-year deal at that point, and it's after next season, and we all know the cap's going to continue to go up, but you got to think there's 15 out there for him if he has a really, really good year and 100-plus points again. And, I mean, he's a number 1 center everywhere else. So I think, or most other places, we can have that debate on a different show. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, you got to think there's high 14s, 15, like who knows? But, I mean, Leon Draisaitl wanted to grind the Edmonton Oilers and said, look, guys, it's going to be 14.7. That's my number. You telling me the Oilers aren't doing that with everything that's riding on this and McDavid's deal and all that? Like, he did not grind for every penny here. He left some money on the table, believe it or not. Now, it's not a big haircut because, as you guys know, Leon Draisaitl's been on one of the best value contracts in the league for the last 4 or 5 years, right? But he definitely left some money on the table here, understanding you can't squeeze the team for every penny and have the chance to win that you want.
You talked about McDavid, like, How close do you think the connection is to this contract? Like, do you think Leon Draisaitl signs this if he went to McDavid and McDavid said, I just don't know what I want to do? Or would this have to be a scenario in your mind that both of them are doing this together? Or do you believe Draisaitl's comments today where he just said, Connor's got to do what he's best for himself, but I just did what was best for me today?
It's such a good question, and I don't know that we'll ever have. Maybe when
day one, Rish. I've been waiting for a good question for 3 months, and I got one on day one. Thank you.
Yeah, mark it down. You guys clip this and tweet it. Asked something somewhat relevant. It's a good question. Like I don't know the answer because Leon Draisaitl. There's a part of me that goes, no. He made it clear at the beginning of last year. Of course, I'm going to talk to Connor, but these have to be done separately. I have to do what's right for me. So is it fair for Leon Draisaitl to go to Connor McDavid and go, look, dude, I need a lock, stock guarantee you're going to do this before I do it? I don't think that's fair.
And nothing ever is solid, Rish.
Yeah.
Like things could go south and all of a sudden McDavid's like, sorry, pal.
I know, but here's let me throw a scenario and interrupt here. McDavid got married. I'm sure they're on a bachelor party and they're 17 drinks deep. They're probably having a heart-to-heart at some point and going,
he said they did.
Where are we at here?
We've talked several times.
Exactly. So, I mean, he has to have in the pit of his stomach or somewhere along the line know a good idea what Connor's mindset is based on how close they are. I believe they have summer homes close to each other, all of that type of stuff. Like this, these guys are best buddies. So I think it's a good sign that he signs the 8 because if he signed for 2 today or 3, all the speculation starts, does it not?
Oh, 1,000% it does. 1,000% it does. But what I don't know the answer to is if Connor said to him, you know what, I'm not sure. We're kind of thinking, maybe we'll take – I'm not sure. Let's say that were McDavid's answer to him. Does Draisaitl automatically not do 8 years here? I don't know that that's the case. It's $112 million. Right. He's in the best financial position in this moment than he'll ever be in his career. And you got a team that he likes playing for in a city that he likes playing in saying, here's $112 million. Maybe the business sense of Leon Draisaitl is like, never mind Connor McDavid. It's $112 million. How many times in your career are you in position to do a deal of that magnitude? So I don't know. Part of me thinks that the cold business side of Draisaitl, if he likes playing here and feels like, of course, McDavid's situation has a huge amount to do with it. But to expect McDavid to have given him some sort of like they did some pinky swear or blood oath, of course not. It's not even a fair position to put McDavid in. But did they go, hey, what are you thinking? Yeah, I think so. It's been good.
For sure.
Hey, yeah, we could probably win a bunch. Hey, yeah, high five. Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. And it feels like it's trending in that direction, and it like one does have a fair amount to do with the other. But to answer O's question, I don't think it's all or nothing.
With Ryan Rishaug, Leon Draisaitl signing an 8-year extension with the Oilers today that'll kick in next year. Presuming he plays throughout the rest of that contract, that will be 19 years as an Oiler. Yeah. Look into the future for us. Let's say we get 9 years from now, he's an Oiler the whole time. Where will he rank, in your opinion, in terms of all-time great Oilers? Not based on how he plays. Like no one's going to say he's better than Gretzky or McDavid or even Messier or Coffey or whatever. But in terms of how you think the market will feel about Leon Draisaitl 9 years from now, where will he rank?
Well, I think it's going to matter how many Stanley Cups they win. In Edmonton, your greatness is measured by cups hoisted. That's just the measure, right? That's what the big guys that were here before did. They hoisted it a pile of times. So I think, I don't know how many cups they're going to win in that time if they win a Stanley Cup. If the answer is 2 or 3 in that 8-9 years that he's here, then you put him right up there in the, in the pantheon of the top guys. We all know the list and who he won't be ahead of, but not far behind those guys. You win Stanley Cups in this city, especially in an era where it's, it is so rare to do in a Canadian city and so difficult to do. So, I mean, you've got your Gretzkys and your Messiers and your Coffeys and your Currys and your McDavids and your Draisaitl's when you start talking about winning Stanley Cups for the organization, I would say, guys.
Yeah. Like Gretzky's a different beast. If McDavid's here the whole time, he's a different beast.
Yep.
I guess, can he catch Messier?
Messier's a different beast, too.
Is he? Okay. So he can't catch
Messier,
in your opinion. Like if he's there for 20 years, lifelong Oiler, no chance. You can't catch him there.
I don't know. Let's see how many he wins.
All right.
Let's see how many he wins. Matt, I mean, he's in that conversation though, and I think that's the point you're making.
Yeah.
Like he's in that conversation, but they're going to have to push that thing up over their head a bunch of times for this to really resonate properly, and so we shall see.
We shall see. Well, the hockey season is basically here. It's good to have you on, buddy. We appreciate you doing this. We'll do it again down the road.
Yeah, great to chat with everybody. Thanks for the intel on Struddy. That is golden.
Make sure you keep him honest.
Please
do. Stay on him. There's Ryan Rishaug. I just picture lunatic Oiler fans knocking on his door.
Yes.
Saying, I won the IKEA shelving that you put up for $30.
What's your address?
What's your address?
Yes.
Are you Jason Strudwick? Is this the Jason Strudwick? Yeah, come on by and pick it up.
It is. There's a comedian that talks about, like, if you go on Craigslist, you're inviting a murderer over your house.
It's
like,
a brilliant bit.
It is a funny bit, but like that's
$5.
You have no idea who's showing up to purchase this stuff. Like,
I've been in that situation. My wife has put stuff up. Generally, it's free. There's like a community thing, like, helping other parents. Hey, do you need this or whatever? And I've had a guy show up, and I'm not the equivalent of some massive superstar, but it's like, hey, are you? I'm like, yeah, man, those are your skates.
Give me
Go
my
ahead.
$12. Give me my $12.
Yeah, it's like, maybe we got to put an end to that.
Yeah.
But
it's just
it's awkward.
It's a coffee shop parking lot.
That's probably where it should
Never
be. Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
That's probably where it should be. Pick it up at the library. Like a ransom.
It's in a garbage bag at the Tim Hortons around the corner.
Leave the money. The Big Lebowski. All right. Hour 2 coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.